Hey yo, what is up guys? Coach Chad here, back with another video. Now, in this video, what is the challenge that we are solving? We are solving how to identify your ideal client, right? When you are starting a business in general, or specific to my audience, an online fitness coaching company or any sort of online platform company, you have to identify who your target audience is, okay? I'm going to start this off by saying where I think people go wrong. Where I think people go wrong is they create their ideal client and they think that is the only person that they can ever sell, right? They start pigeonholing themselves. And this is the picture that I like to paint, okay, with the ideal client. Imagine that you're playing darts. You have a bullseye. Your bullseye is an ideal client, but there are so many different parts of the dartboard that if you land on that part, you're not going to say no, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say your ideal client is a female, age 30, right? Their job is in real estate, they're single, and they love to hang out at coffee shops, and that's your bullseye, right? If you had a female at age 20 who worked a desk job, who was married, and likes to hang out at amusement parks, you're not going to say no just because they don't fit that ideal, bullet point, right? So that's how I want you guys to start viewing ideal client moving forward, is you have your ideal client who's that bullseye, but there's other parts of the dartboard too, that if you land on that other part of the dartboard, you're not going to say no. You're going to welcome them with open arms. Okay. So really simply in this video, I want to help you guys identify your ideal client with a very, very simple exercise. Okay. I'm going to ask you guys 5 questions, and then we're going to move into the second part of the exercise. So question number 1, and actually, sorry, one more thing I want to say before we get into this is what does identifying your ideal client even help you with? What it helps you with is creating your marketing strategy, right? Creating your wording on how you want to speak in your marketing and who you're speaking to, right? The more clear you can get on the type of person that you want to speak to, the better that your content will be at attracting that type of person. All right, so let's get into the 5 questions. Question number 1 is, what is their gender? Are they male or are they female? Once again, if you pick male, doesn't mean that you'll never accept a female. And if you pick female, doesn't mean that you'll never accept a male. It just means that in your content, you're going to speak predominantly to males. And if a female happened to come along, all right, great. I guess we attracted her in our marketing, right? You're not going to say no. So identify, do you want to speak mainly to males or speak mainly to females? And then when you're creating your content, make sure that you're actually following the verbiage of the sex that you're trying to attract. Okay. Question number 2, what is the age range? Some coaches say, what is the specific age? I don't think you need to get that specific. I think that's kind of ridiculous if you're asking me, but what is the age range roughly, right? Because people who are 20 to 30, they think a lot differently than people who are 30 to 50, and people that are 50 to 80 think a lot differently than people that are 30 to 50. The reason that you're identifying this, once again, is so that you can create your content that talks to this specific age demo, okay? So what is the age range? 5 to 15 years is a fair enough range, depending on what category of ages they fall into. But identify, what is the rough age range of people that you would like to attract or work with, right? I don't think you can say 20 to 50 because, 20 to 35 thinks a lot differently than 35 to 50. So get a little specific, but not super specific. All right. Next question that you should identify is, what is their profession, right? If you want to narrow it down to a specific profession, that's fine. For me, I said business owners and entrepreneurs. I don't think you even need to narrow it down that specifically. I think what you really should be trying to identify is, are they white collar or are they blue collar? Because people that are white collar speak a lot differently than people that are blue collar. I grew up in a blue collar family. They just are different than people that grew up in a white collar family. They just have totally different viewpoints on life, totally different things that they enjoy and talk about. Okay, so identify blue collar or white collar. From there, are they single or are they married? Same thing. Single people have different aspirations of getting healthy and fit than married people. Married people typically are trying to do it for their marriage or for their family or for their kids or even for themselves, right? And single people tend to be doing it to attract the opposite sex, right? To attract a mate, to look good so that, once again, they can attract somebody, right? So identify, is your ideal client single or married, right? Or single or in a relationship. It doesn't even have to be married, okay? This last question I really love. Where do they hang out offline and where do they hang out online? Let's stick with the offline one. Where would you find your ideal client in the world? Would you find them most commonly in an airport, Would you find them most commonly in a coffee shop, at a cocktail bar, right? Where are you going to find a coffee? I already said a coffee shop. Where would you find your ideal client offline? This is also really good for sales, because let's say that your ideal client goes to business events a lot, right? Which mine does. Then it would make a lot of sense to at least a couple of times a year go to a business event where you could run into an ideal client, exchange numbers, and get them into your program, right? Now, where do you find them online? This is a really good question. This is something that was a game changer for me when I first started. I always thought that my ideal client was going to be on Instagram because every fitness coach is on Instagram, right? But it turns out that my ideal client actually is predominantly on Facebook, because they tend to be older, right? They tend to be 30 to 50, and anyone who's tends to be a little bit older is going to be on Facebook or a different platform or even email, and they don't tend to be on things like Snapchat or Instagram, right? So you have to ask yourself, what social media platform is my ideal client going to predominantly be on? Okay, so now that you have a pretty good understanding of your ideal client, there's 3 more things that I want you to dig a little bit deeper on, all right? And these are the pains, fears, and goals. So the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what are the goals that my ideal client has? Is it mostly weight loss? Why do they want to lose weight, right? I dig a little bit deeper. Is it for their family? Is it for more energy? Is it for longevity of life? So you have to identify, what is their goal and why do they want to reach that goal, okay? Once you have that, you need to identify their biggest fear behind not reaching their goal, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say that your ideal client wants to lose roughly 30 to 50 pounds. Their biggest fear to not losing 30 to 50 pounds is not being the father that they said that they were going to be for their kids, right? So what are their biggest fears? Things that are going to happen in the future as a result of them not reaching their goals, okay? And the last thing that you need to identify is their pains. What are the current pains that they're experiencing? Could be physical, could be emotional, could be mental, as a result of them not reaching their goal. Okay, so we got their goal. What is their goal and why do they want to reach their goal? What's a rough estimate of their goal, right? For us, it's usually about 20 to 50 pounds that our ideal client wants to lose. What are their biggest fears associated with if in the future, if they don't reach their goal? And then what are the current pains that they're experiencing right now as a result of not reaching their goal? So that is everything ideal client. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, hit the like button, comment in the comment section down below, and make sure you subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon. Boom.